In today's video we will be building, I'm going to show you how to build this monstrosity and more of that, how to build it, how to split it into launchable parts, how to launch these parts into the orbit using all kinds of beautiful tricks and shenanigans, and then finally assembling it in the orbit. So stick around, this video is gonna be monumental. So we will be covering the assembly of the entire ship in the spaceplane hangar, just to design it to see how it will work, splitting it into the launchable components piece by piece, and then finally preparing for the big day and that launch when everything will be going into the orbit. I mean, that will be just monumental, and we will be excluding all the possible shenanigans, like for example this dancing. Oh, it's gonna be Starship launch again, isn't it? Too soon? Okay, so the procedure will be as follows. This will be heavily accelerated build because I will be constructing the Mega-Ship. Yeah, it's gonna be huge. But that ship will turn out to be the new Duna orbital station, which will be permanently stationed in the orbit around Duna for docking and undocking of various landers and serving as a permanent orbital foothold around Duna. So, as always, I'm starting with a probe core because, well, my previous station design had a flaw. It didn't have a probe core, so once people, you know, or Kerbals decided to leave it, well, it got basically abandoned. Yeah, I'm not proud of it, but I'm correcting here. So then we're adding crew modules for, you know, command module, which will allow this station to even fly as a single ship, and it will get hopefully somewhere, followed by some adapters, and hopefully I'm thinking of putting in here like this hydroponic station, but I need to find some sort of an adapter to make a smooth transition from the small form factor to the bigger form factor. So let me just see, is that one? Yeah, no, that one. Oh, right, good. Now where is my hydroponics part? Nope, not you. Oh, pressurized crew tube. Okay, that doesn't look bad. Now, where was my hydroponic PPD? Let's go with a PPD. Shanty habitation module. No, not you, not you. Logistics. I'm tempted, but no. Life support. Okay, so we can use these guys to hoard a whole lot of life support supplies. Right. However, I'm thinking I'm gonna go with the hydroponics that will allow to grow plants and whatnot. Then we have the truss storage module. I'm not gonna use that one. I'm actually thinking of something like, you know, rotating spheres, but as well, we might as well put some crew modules so that we do have some crew capacity. Logistics I'm gonna take, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep it on this place. Let us go and find a hub that would be some sort of, you know, like permanent, something like that. Yes, multi-purpose hub. That's the thing. Alright, and then thinking about it, where I would like some science experiments. Right. Oh, now we're talking. Yes, that's the stuff. Alright, so then we have the science components, which will be, of course, the hub and the science laboratory and the zoology bay, because at this time I'm sending them both in one go. I want to be able to perform some experiments like, you know, the cows on Duna. Yeah, that's the thing. Oh, apparently cows will not be going and landing on Duna yet, but the cows will be flying in the orbit around Duna, enjoying and marveling the beautiful red planet that Duna is. I'm just checking what is my crew capacity, and as you can see, Bill, Valentina, Joey, Smokin', Dan, and Stian, mostly consisting of my patrons and channel members, but I'm gonna be adding a couple more, so guys, there are slots available. And yeah, also I might add here on the roster one of my most people that are most contributing to my channel. That would be probably the guys who are posting frequent comments, the guys who are posting useful comments. So this is a little bit nudge to you, and also if you find this video fun and informative, and hopefully you will be enjoying it, I urge you, please do fling a like at it. After all, they're for free and they allow me to know how good is the stuff I'm making. So, right. that thing out of the way, I'm actually gonna put some RCS tank on this hab, and I'm gonna be putting here the life support supplies, as you can tell, right? And then here I'm gonna be posting this one in reverse. Okay, now they look cool. It looks symmetrical. I'm trying to go for the most part symmetrical, but it doesn't need to be 100% symmetrical. Yeah. Also, let's place the docking ports on top and bottom. And on the logistics modules, I'm gonna actually place smaller docking ports so that the various craft can dock. But the big docking ports would be for the potential station extension, where we could actually dock an additional dockyard or additional fuel tanks for refueling or additional cyclotrons and science experiments. Who knows? The sky is the limit, or in this case, the orbit is the limit for this guy. Alright, so that being said, let us now just quickly, and now I'm starting to think, okay, how will I break up this station? I need some SAS control modules, because this is going to be a big bugger. So it needs to be able to, you know, turn around and do various things. And here I'm just placing a couple of them to make sure that our SAS units can work their thing and basically, you know, perform. So that's apparently a thing. Usually, when I'm designing a space station, I'm doing it all in one launch, but this one is gonna be something, I really wanted to do something cool, something epic, you know, for our inaugural operations where we are sending Kerbals to Duna. I mean, we've sent them with us in a small station, but yeah, they just waited up in the orbit, did some science, and they're going back. These guys will be doing some more science. Okay, then we need to assemble the thrust section, and the thrust section will be the thing that ultimately gets this station to Duna. So I've actually, and since I don't have a bigger tanks yet, yeah, I have to unlock them, I have opted to go with the Rhino engine and with some Kerbodyne tanks, and then I need some additional decouplers, and I'm gonna put hydraulic detachment manifolds, followed by some Rockomax tanks with, I'm thinking, skippers. Skippers are the vacuum optimized engine, and I do want to give that, you know, next gen starship vibe in terms of going to Duna, something like, I don't know, Icarus or something, I don't know. I'm just feeling inspired to do an interplanetary mission of huge scale. Right. So at this point, I'm just assembling the craft that I want to be leaving Kerbin and going to Duna. It has 4K Delta V, hopefully that will be enough. I have honestly no idea. I'm assembling some more solar panels because I want some solar panels. And then I'm assembling some more. I'll need to add more RCS, and I need to add lights and probe cores. So let's take care of the lights first. Lights I want to be placing on various components, so when I light it up it doesn't look all dark, gloomy and doomy. But also I want the lights to have a purpose. So for example, where I have the docking ports, I'm going to be placing the navigation lights, and I'm going to be placing illumination lights to show off our beautiful rings of, you know, centrifuges. Right, that's the word, that's how they're called. Alright, so when it comes to it, I'm actually going to be placing two lights here, and those will be like the docking lights. It will give you, you know, red on the left hand side and green on the right hand side, telling you how to approach the dock. I got this from, you know, naval. I used to have a boat on the seaside, and you would always have the left hand side would be the red, and the right hand side would be the right side, so port and starboard. Yeah, that's the word. Right, so now we're putting RCS thrusters on all the sections, just to make sure that this station is controllable. Duna Science Space Station. Look how beautiful it is. I mean, that thing is gorgeous. Right. So, what I want to be adding, I want to be adding antennas, and I want to be adding more stuff that it can be controlled, actually, because this thing needs to be flyable, crew or no crew. So, I'm gonna place a battery here, a battery there, and to be symmetrical, the battery is there, and additional battery somewhere over here. Right. So, batteries we have, communications we probably have. And then we need to put the control components, and for that I'm gonna be using, I was thinking to find a good part, but I think this Gigan, which is like the Falcon 9s and Falcon Heavies control module, I think I'm gonna use those. So here I'm gonna place this for the thrust section. Maybe we place it like this, and then we just, there we go. Alright, we take it as is. Good. Then we need to place additional Gigan capsule. That depends on where I will be splitting this damn thing. So that's for the thrust section. Then I need one for the first compart, and I'm gonna split it somewhere, I think, beside the hub, somewhere here-ish. And this will be the first half, and this will be the second half. And then I'm gonna just drag them in gently. So where is my move tool? Yeah, there we go. Sorry. I need to figure out how to actually place them. So move tool, there you go. No, not you. You. And you here. Good. Now, remember, we don't still have the docking port. So in theory, this is all one giant spacecraft. So we need to have docking ports to be able to break this up and send them as, you know, flyable components upwards. So we have to be very careful when we're splitting the craft up. So I'm thinking we should deflate these sections now. I mean, they really look beautiful. And from the testing, I know that they require at least two engineers to be able to unfold and fold. So that means we will have two engineers joining us on this merry way. Or maybe we just have two engineers who will actually go and do things and then we'll leave. I don't know. Okay, cargo storage unit. I would really like to take these because these give me the experiments that would be, you know, the breaking ground experiments, which I could store here and then take it down on the lander if the opportunity presents itself. So I'm thinking the experiments control unit. This guy, good. That guy as well, yeah. And here I've placed basically the control unit, the communications array, and 4 solar panels. In the others I've put like double mystery goo and double weather experiment, followed by RTGs and whatnot. Then the next thing I want to be placing is the seismometer, spectrometer, yeah, that one. And here I'm going to be taking a couple of RTGs. Here actually I can place another seismometer. Here I can place 2 RTGs, more solar panels, 1 more communications array, a couple of more just to be on the safe side. And I'm also going to put EVA experiments and also EVA repair kits. And I might as well put some lights, you know, just keep it organized and nice. I mean, the main parts will be on the lander itself. However, I still want to have a healthy backup just in case something goes wrong. We can always have these. And on this, such an interplanetary ship, come on, that's peanuts in terms of, you know, everything. Alright, so now I'm gonna put an additional RCS tank here. And here I'm gonna be placing directly the docking ports. Despite my better judgment, because I have a reason for that, and hear me out. So these two, the ship will be split in 3 parts, and I want each part to have RCS for the docking purposes. So here we're splitting the first part. Here we're putting 2 docking ports, connecting them together. Here we will be splitting another 2 docking ports. Oh, nope, come on. RCS, there we go. Now 2 docking ports, 1 and 2. So the ship will be split here, exactly on those incisions, and now I'm gonna save it as 3 separate ships. So that's the way how I design stations. I design first what it was gonna look like, then I split it down into launchable components. So this one will be the first craft, and it's gonna be Space Station Part A, Hydro, for hydroponics. Then we're gonna save that and we're gonna reroute it so that this Gigan is the root part. Good. That's step 1. And as you can see, it performs okay. So the next one, we're gonna reroute this, and we're gonna reroute it to the second Gigan, and we have removed this. So part B, docks, save it, good. Making sure that we add just 2 more thrusters so that this thing is actually stable when it comes to, you know, docking and undocking and everything else. And then third, we're gonna switch to the third part, which is the third Gigan, and this one will be an actual third launcher. Part C, thrusters. Yeah, there we go. So those are actually now 3 components of the whole and entire station. Beautiful. So now we need to actually break them down into individual launchable modules. So first we're gonna load in the VAB the first one. There we go. Oopsie. Let's take this one. So we need to make sure that you can get in one piece into orbit. So we're constructing that part with a launcher. By the way, guys, this is a good tutorial for you to see how I'm designing my interplanetary stations, and I really hope you like it. So yeah, right. Okay, so we are adding a couple of more antennas, and we are strutting everything: inflate, deflate, start rotation, and stop rotation. All right. Lights on, lights off, good. We're just doing some final checks, and then we need to be encasing this guy into a fairing. And once we encase it into a fairing, then we need to construct the launcher for the damn thing. Right. So, where is my decoupler? And then I want to use the aeroprotective shell. It's gonna be a huge ass fairing, and honestly it's gonna look like a butt plug, but yeah, what can you do? Alright, so there you go. Look at that. Now that looks weird. Right, so with that thing being said, let us now construct the launcher for it. So this guy, we're gonna put one Rockomax with a skipper, and this one doesn't need to have a metric crap ton of delta V. It needs to be able to get into the low carbon orbit and rendezvous with the station. So I'm gonna place something like this. Look, 939 meters per second. That's plenty. And then we need a thing that will get it into the orbit. So I'm thinking, where is my Bagora? There we go. And that gives me 2.9 thousand meters per second. Good, but not great. So let's do the Falcon Heavy if we can. There we go. And then we're gonna be placing the caps. And right, so just a little bit to rearrange the staging, and we need to fix the, of course, the fuel lines. Good, now we have 4.7 thousand meters per second, so that's actually more than enough. Let's auto strut everything, and that will be our first launcher de jour. Given that the fairing is huge, there will be a deviation from the standard Falcon Heavy, and that will be that I'm going to be placing a metric crap ton of fins at the bottom to keep this spacecraft aerodynamically stable on ascent. Because the bigger the fairing, the bigger the flip chance, of course. So, yeah, right. Okay, there we go. Of course, I will be performing some off-camera testing, but I'm not gonna show you that, not to spoil the launch. I always perform some off-camera testing just to make sure that my crafts are launchable. Okay, doing some final checks and adding, of course, the Separatrons, because, well, those need to be there for various reasons. Right. Okay, so that one is queued for production. Now, we're gonna decouple this launcher and we're gonna load the second craft. Or actually, I'm gonna take this launcher and I'm gonna put it as a sub-assembly launcher. Yeah. Now, we're not gonna save this, but we're gonna be taking the second component of the space station. Good. We're gonna point it pointy way up. There we go. and then I'm gonna be placing it into a launcher. Given that we have this big side things, I think we can delete the fairing and the rocket will be none the wiser. It has similar amount of thrust to weight, it has similar amount of delta V, so the only thing that's missing is aerodynamic cap on the top. Honestly, easy peasy, right? Yeah, I didn't want to go any further than that. Of course, I will be testing the bananas out of it. And then we are coming to the final component. As soon as we do this, we're going to go with the final one. Science Space Station, the thrust section. Okay, so this one will be a little bit harder to get into space intact. But don't worry, I have just the tool for the job. And it's called Super Heavy. Yay! So this one is no Starship, but we will mate it with the Super Heavy booster that will ultimately go to space. So yeah, okay, so I'm actually doing here, we have the remote tech thingy, we have the antennas, we have the ascent, everything here is dandy. We're just making sure that these are placed correctly. And now thrusters with launcher, good. Time to add the weird component. Yeah, I know, hydraulic detachment manifold. Right, good, place it upwards. So super heavy. Yeah, actually I think we're probably gonna need a decoupler for this because it clips in. I think we're gonna need a Starship decoupler for that. Where is it? Okay, so let me just quickly search for it. Behemoth interstage, yep, and now stick it in, son. All right. Although it needs to be, I hope you will fly better than the Super Heavy Booster 7. But all in all, that's my rocket and I'm sticking to it. Look, it has plenty of delta V, 4.8 thousand. So the next step is to get this thing, all these things to space and assemble it. Alright, so the first thing to launch will be the thrust section, and that one is actually launching on top of Super Heavy Booster. And unlike what I have documented in the intro, there has been a lot of shenanigans because for some reason the autostrut didn't work when I launched it initially. So that was a test and it wobbled like crazy, but as you can see now, everything is rigid and working perfectly. So hopefully we will be able to deploy the first component, which is the thrust section, and then we will be launching the other two and we will be docking them to this monstrosity. So, as said, this is booster, let's call it booster, Super Heavy Booster 9. Because I hope that the Super Heavy Booster 9 will actually be able to deliver Starship to orbit. However, this one will be running in the fully expendable mode, meaning once it will consume all of its fuel and then it will fall back to Kerbin, to some poor schmuck who will actually get a giant, you know, water tower dropped on top of its head. Let's hope not. Let's hope it will do a splashdown, hard splashdown somewhere in the Kerbin seas. Right. Okay, so there we go. We are at the maneuver node and then we will be performing the circularization burn, which will take 800-ish meters per second. So the goal here is we have 384 meters per second at this stage. I was actually hoping to be able to complete the entire circularization on the Super Heavy. However, that means that it will leave a little bit less fuel in our central stage, but it is what it is. So the burn will be coming in 1 minute and 1 second, and let's just undock the nose cone just to make sure that we can get rid of the damn thing. Alright, and let's just then point maneuver prograde, and after that we will be executing the burn. This video should be awesome, and guys, I mean, if you're liking it, you know, likes are for free, but my coffee is not, so please put a like, because when I see a like I'm gonna have another sip of coffee, although I won't take too much. Alright, let's decouple this and let's burn. So we have some 300 meters per second to close up, and that will give us, I hope, the enough oomph to be able to get the whole construction to Duna. There we go. And note we have a total of 6.7 thousand delta V, which is not actually 6.7 because we will be docking the other two craft to it, and we will try to transfer a little bit of fuel extra. So just now trying to put it 107 by 107 kilometer orbit, and that should be happening in 28 minutes when we will be executing a correction burn. Alright. Fortunately, well, this one doesn't actually have even the solar panel, so it's very dependent that it doesn't run out of power, and which is why immediately after we're done with this, we will be rolling out to the launch pad and launching the second section. And another reason is because we are within the Duna launch window, which means, yes, things will be happening quickly. There we go. Alright. I'm actually pretty happy with this, and I will just try and see if I can rename it. Command, rename the vessel. So it's Duna Station, Part C, thrusters. Yeah, maybe actually without the launcher. Well, yeah, okay. Right. The next component to be launched is the Duna Space Station Part B, and it's being rolled out to the launch pad, and it contains docks and whatnot. Oh, what a horrible weather to be launching everything in. But here, I will actually be putting two of our engineers or scientists and engineer, I'm not sure. Let's see. We have some new pilots. We have Dying to Play Kerman. He is one of my most frequent commenters, and he will be for sure joining us on this adventure. There we go. Beautiful launch. So, Dying to Play Kerman, you're part of the adventure now, and you have been added to the, I don't know if it was science lab or zoology base, so I have to check. I hope you're not, I didn't put you in there with the cows. And another one is Max, which is Max Bamble, one of my close friends and my most frequent commenters. You might have seen him even in some episodes where we were playing Stationeers together. So there we go. We are ascending all the way upwards, and we will be rendezvousing with that station. We don't have a lot of Delta V in this stage, but we only need it to be able to dock, so that's fine. There we go. Alright, decouple. Oops, oops, oops. Whoa, 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 whoa. Well, at least it's still in one piece. Max looks happy, and Dying to Play was a little bit concerned, but he trusts my engineering. What a horrible mistake. Right, so, okay, let's see. We are at 105 apoapsis, and let's take it from here. We'll place this guy as a target. We will be going into the lower orbit because I think we will need to do some catching up. Just, we will do also here a little bit of a rendezvous. I don't want to call it tutorial, but we will doing a rendezvous and docking. So, yeah, you will see a lot of that in this episode. So, when it comes to it, oh, I really love the lighting. Right. Okay, so we have 1,260 meters per second of the circularization, and then we will be executing the rendezvous and docking. So, burning, and let's hit it. And it is just now that I have decided to decouple the nose cone, so fortunately enough it didn't explode, but it's stuck to our docking port. It will be released once we stop burning, so that's fine. Alright, just making sure my staging is correct, and after we circularized, there we go. And up and away it goes. Bye bye nose cone. So we have 613 meters per second to rendezvous, so I'm actually extending the solar panels, and I'm immediately connecting the this communication thingy to make sure that we have it. Yeah, alright, good. So, let's see. Ascending node, descending node, how shall we execute this? Set as a target, and the moment I set as a target it moves around. Wonderful. Okay, well, maybe I have actually put in the wrong target. Who knows? Alright. So we have to do some finagling to ensure that we do align the docking nodes and everything else, and then after that we will be executing the burn. So at this point we have to make sure that we do teeny tiny corrections just to make sure that we do rendezvous. Alright. There we go, and we have our rendezvous burn, so let me just quickly execute it. Look at it, how beautiful it looks. This will be the middle stage of our interplanetary vessel that will be going all the way to Duna, carrying lots of Kerbals and more hopes of the Kerbal kind with them. There we go. Okay, so let's see, when do we plan to do an encounter? Encounter we should do probably... I want to do it on the sunny side, so I want to make sure that we do it... Let's see. Oh, no, it won't work. Add another maneuver node. And when we drag it here... Ah, that looks closer, and we just need to move it at the right place. I think I had it just now there for a second. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. So, assuming we do such a burn, we will be doing a good intersect. Okay, right, 42 meters per second. So as you can see, those are tiny burns because we really are close to it, and we are going at the similar relative speeds. So once we execute the burn, we should be hopefully doing the alignment. All right, so let's see. Alright, the burn is executed, and now it's time to perform the rendezvous. Let's warp until we get there, and after that we will be doing the rendezvous. So let's see, how are we doing? Alright, beautiful. Our target relative velocity is 34 meters per second. Target is currently out of range. This thing does maneuver like an aircraft carrier. It will be scary to see how the entire craft will perform, but we are approaching it, and look at that. We are closing the distance, and now I'm reducing my relative velocity while trying to put a yellow marker on top of a pink one, which means we will end up in the same place in space eventually. That's basically the only thing that this means. And once we get close enough, I will burn the rest of the relative velocity and then perform the docking. So I was even thinking of ditching the fuel tank, but I remembered, hey, I have some fuel in there. So I will try to dock this with the fuel tank attached, transfer the fuel, and then send in the next guy. So I'm now closing off all the extruded parts just to make sure that we can perform the docking as intended. I think we have reduced now to 2.2 target relative velocity. We are closing in. Right, there we go, 0.9. And I think now at this point, let's switch the control. We will be controlling from the docking port. It's time for us to do the alignment. And when everything is folded in, this spacecraft performs, of course, much better. There we go. The relative distance is now 60 meters. And let us do the alignment so that we are on the same plane, so to say. Okay, the sea distance is 20. Let's just quickly do alignment. We are closing in at a rather alarming rate, if I might add so myself. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2... Oh, okay, that was a very definition of a close flyby. Now, I'm gonna just quickly kill all the relative velocity and then just make sure that I correct the alignment. Gently, like that, good. And once we have fixed the alignment, then we will do translation until we dock. Okay, so now we can fix the up and left, and then once we have aligned that, then we will burn just briefly forward and dock. Yeah, there we go. This is how the docking port alignment indicator should look when docking. Okay, good. We are docked. Now, Max and Dying to Play, please, let's make sure that we transfer the fuel out of these tanks into, well, wherever we can place them. So, let's see. liquid fuel oxidizer, and out of these tanks. So if I just press out, it will distribute simultaneously and equally between the other two tanks. And now we will be decoupling this decoupler. Bye-bye. So this is an empty tank that will be sadly reminiscent and stay in as orbital trash until some poor schmuck picks it up. Right. Okay, I think it's time that we go for the last component. But this really sure looks beautiful. Alright, so let's clear this out. So who do we have? Now I need another pilot, and I need a scientist and an engineer. So Dan Kerman, Stian, and let's see, Smoken. So we have a pilot, engineer, and a scientist. Okay, fair enough. Let's launch this sucker. Okay, this is a little bit scary perspective that I honestly didn't expect, to be honest. But yeah, it happens. Alright, and this is the long section containing the electricity, the nose, and all those wonderful things. So we have Stian Kerman, who is one of my longest standing patrons. We have Smokin Kerman, who is also one of my longest standing patrons, and Dan. So yeah, this one you could call it the Patreon/YouTube member team. Right. By the way, if you want to go and on these adventures and you want to join me, make sure that you can actually, you would like me to if you want to sponsor me directly, you can do so via the Patreon link or by YouTube joining the YouTube membership. And in those cases, you might get some of these episodes early. Right. So, speaking about it, Smokin Kerman. He is very happy. Stian is piloting, of course. And Dan is looking after the electronics and making sure that everything is correct. So we are once again trying to add a maneuver where we align and do the rendezvous while we are circularizing, preferably, but that always doesn't come to be the case. So apparently we'll also do some catching up to do, so that means that we will be going into the lower orbit. Remember, lower orbits are faster, meaning that we will be catching up to the station eventually. And right now I'm waving my hands, trying to, you know, how do you call it? Articulate. Yeah, that's the word. Okay, so the burn will be in 10 seconds. We are pointing the rocket maneuver prograde. Stian, get ready to hit the gas. And there we go. Acceleration galore. Beautiful. Oh, and there's a moon even in the backdrop. I just noticed it right now. Yeah, looks gorgeous. Alright, speaking of that, we have 2.9 meters per second remaining, and let's see, how did we do? So we are coming up on a descending node, so let's just fix briefly our orbital inclination, just make sure that you're on the same level, and we're gonna get a close encounter actually pretty much immediately. That's wonderful. Alright, so the burn will be starting in 22 seconds. Let's point at this huge rocket maneuver prograde. There we go. I think that's good enough. And here we have target position at intersect. Can we now somehow finagle with this maneuver node to make sure that we get a better alignment? Let's see. Come on. Target separation is 50 kilometers. We should get that down a bit. If we burn it here, we manage to get it to 30 kilometers. Slightly less. Yeah, I'm gonna take it. 8.2 meters per second burn. And then we're gonna try to align as much as we can. Right. Okay, the burn will be 8.2 meters per second, and then the total burn time will be 0.3 seconds. So essentially it will be an engine fart. You know, like, done. So, right. Okay. Let's see. 8.2 meters, coming soon. Yep, done. Okay, it was a long fart. Hopefully not a wet one. Right, so that being said, we do have an encounter, and a good one. So let's see if we can finagle this node a little bit further out just to make sure that we can get a little bit closer encounter, if you will. Alright, I'm raising my apoapsis a bit, and if I add it here, there we go. So the whole point was allow a little bit lower orbit for a little bit more longer duration so that the two can align. Alright. However, I would really like it to be on the sunny side, not on the dark-ish side. Yeah. Okay, and after some fiddling, I managed to get a separation of 0.6 kilometers, and the second one is 0.7, and it's coming almost on the sunny side. So I'm actually gonna target the second intersect 2, because if we go for docking there, we will be able to perform docking mostly on the sunny side, or at least at the dawn, when we will be able to see what we are doing. I try to avoid dockings at night because, well, they're not really interesting to watch, to be honest, guys. So, right. Okay, another engine fart. 3, 2, 1. See, there we go. Detach, and we're good. All right. So, okay, that's good enough. And I'm actually gonna skip the first intersect and let's just go for the second one. All right. So here we're getting close. And our target relative velocity is 13 meters per second, which is perfect. We will save a lot of delta V, but sadly, we cannot do the same thing as we did previously. I thought I could, because I don't have a probe core on the ascent stage, so sadly, we'll need to go and dock and discard the fuel tank, although it would have been mighty useful. Yeah, note to my future self, think more. Yeah, at the moment, as you can see, we have no port targeted, so we don't know how it looks like. We are still decreasing our orbital velocity, and the moment when we detach the booster, we will know for sure. So I think I'm gonna need to push the stage on this guy to be able to even dock. Dang it. Alright, so let's see. Decouple and control from here, and look, we are at 800 meters and we can immediately see the target. So I'm gonna bring the alignment up indicator. There we go. Make sure that the orange crosshair is in the middle and that the orange pip is also well aligned. So there we go. Just making sure that I'm trying to align as much as possible. I'm trying to figure out the control, what is up, what is down. It sometimes depends. Okay, let's put the orange pip down, and now let's put the crosshairs right smack into the center using SAS only. I'm not using RCS at the moment because I want to make sure that my orange marker is right smack in the middle and orange pip is correct. And now I engage the translation thrusters. And guys, the thoughts with the docking is like this. The yellow pip will be pushing, as long as the lines are green, it will be pushing them towards the center. It will be pushing them away from it, so to say. So if you think about it, I'm trying to follow up, so the further away it is, the more it will be pushing them the closer we get. I know it's maybe a stupid explanation, but it's actually the rather visual one, so that's how I understood it. The distance is the complete distance between the two bodies, while the C distance is the relative distance, like as if they were projected on a single plane, so to say. And the C velocity is relative velocity between the two bodies. Alright, 192 meters, we are closing in definitely, and we are on the sunny side, so we will be able to see this docking. Oh yeah, this is gonna be amazing. Okay? Making sure that our sea velocity isn't too great, it's around 1, and because we are below 100 meters now, in terms of distance, we are well aligned with the target. We are just doing some final alignments, as you can see, right. Okay, soon enough we will be completely aligned with the target. There we go. And now we only need to burn slightly towards it to be able to dock. There we go. And that would lead to assembly of the entire vehicle. Minor corrections aside. Stian is doing an outstanding job. Look how happy he is. Okay, I think we can go for the docking, Stian. Amazing. I know. There we go. And docked. Beautiful. So now we have a lot of Kerbals on a single ship, and we will be, let's take a control from there, and we will be starting to deploy the module. So let's see, we shall be first deploying the antenna, then we will be deploying the solar panels. Okay. Extend them. For some reason they are locked, I don't know why. I have to figure out. Cannot deploy while stowed. Why is it stowed? Maybe when I'll reload it. Okay. Duna Space Station. Let us deploy this guy. And let us deploy that guy. And I think we can deploy these. And then we can set the long range relay as a target. And then let's deploy the solar panels. These two at least. Oh, look at that. Isn't it gorgeous? Isn't it amazing? Beautiful. And that ship will be getting us to Duna. So soon enough we are going to start the rotation to start generating gravity. There we go. Beautiful. Yeah, and I'm still trying to extend the solar panel for whatever reason. Right. Okay guys, so this is the craft that will be getting our Kerbals and our patrons and our channel members on the way to Duna, but that will be coming in the coming episodes. Until then, thank you very much for watching. I've been GrunfWorks, and I will be seeing you in my next episode.